Hi, I'm Kieran Marquis.
Hi, I'm Riley Selman.
I'm Kyle Hicks, and this is Guitar Guide Weekly.
When it comes to your jam space, you're going to want to have, depending on the number of members you got, anywhere from a basic bedroom size jam space for maybe anywhere from just 1 to, I'd say, 2, maybe pushing it 3, depending on what instruments you're using and players. But then if you're using a 4-piece or larger band, I'd suggest more like a 450 square foot jam space, because especially if you're getting through that drum kit. We have a studio back here, which you're going to see us in a lot throughout this series. And it just works perfectly. Make sure that you soundproof though. Use anything from egg cartons to carpet. Basic things work. We're going to have Kieran teach you about how to set up your amplifier. We're going to have Riley teach you how to set up your guitar. And next episode, we're going to start you on your chords.
Alright, so I'm Riley. I'm the one that's doing all the technical stuff. And today we're gonna learn how to tune a guitar. Because it's kind of important when you're playing. If you don't have an in-tune guitar, you just sound like a word I'm probably not allowed to say.
So you can say it.
So let's just see how this sounds right now.
A frazzlepuss.
A frazzlepuss. Alright, so. Ooh. Ah! Yeah! That's out. Alright, so when you're tuning your guitar, you have 6 strings: your E string, your A string, your D string, your G string, your B string, and your high E string. Very similar to the low. They should be tuned to the same note, but an octave higher. So, when you start, an electric tuner is probably a good thing to have. I already have my E string in tune. And from there, once you have that, you can fret the 5th fret of the E string to get your A note. So, A string very flat.
At this point, we should probably mention that over here you'll be hearing Kieran Marquis shredding. You can go ahead and keep doing it if you want. He is going to be our shredding teacher later, and he'll be showing you how to shred. P.S. Shred. Anyways, here's Riley.
Alright, so now that I got the A string in tune, I can do the same technique and fret the 5th string on the A string now to get my D string, which is already in tune. That's good. Once again, now on the D string, I'm going to fret the 5th fret to get the G string, which is very flat.
You sound a little bit sharp there.
Yeah, it is. Leave it there. Now, on your G string, this is where the whole kind of thing changes, because you have to fret the 4th fret instead of the 5th to get your next note. There you go. And then once you get on your B string, you can just do the 5th again to get your E, which is in tune. In there. There we go. So, now it's a little similar and different on acoustic guitar. Pretty much the same, but when I have this nylon over here, breaking the bass, neck's wider, and actually, I shouldn't demonstrate on this. I will, but I shouldn't.
That's good. Stripping with tripod.
So this is a little different. Neck's a little wider. It looks different. It's overall different, and these strings are nylon. These you have to tune a little more often, just because they're nylon. They stretch out. Nylon stretch. Everyone knows that.
And then they rip if you know what
you do the same technique, using the 5th fret and keep going to the next, and then obviously on the B string, I'll use, not B string, the G string for the B note, I'll use the 4th fret. Alright, so another thing I'm going to talk about is the direction you actually have to turn the tuning pegs. Because for a guitar like this, where I have tuning pegs on both sides of the headstock, it can be a little confusing compared to a guitar where it has all the tuning pegs on one side.
Like this.
Like that one.
Compared to that.
Alright, so when you're tuning, when you want to tighten, you actually turn away from yourself, which is counterclockwise. So you'll be doing that, but when you're on this kind of guitar where there's tuning pegs on each side, when here, now I have to turn towards myself to tighten. And there we go. So.
Can you show us the top ones again? Because I've got you zoomed in on the headstock now. So no, I mean the bottom strings, but can you tilt the neck towards us a bit more? No, as in this way. Yeah. Yeah, and can you tune the low strings again? Yep.
Alright, so tighten, you tune away from yourself, loosen, turn towards.
One moment. And that's all for segment with Riley here.
Hey guys, Kyle Hicks here again for Guitar Guide Weekly. Kieran's away right now for his segment, so I'm going to have to take over for the time being. So I'm going to teach you guys how to set up a basic amplifier. You'll notice that we're not our usual recording studio, but that's because it's spring break. Yeah, so can't really get in there. So we're on location at my house right now in my music room. Over here, out of frame, we've got my Marshall stack, but the dials that you'll see around here are a little bit worn out, so it's a little bit complicated to try to teach that. Plus, not many starter musicians and such are going to have that kind of equipment. So I'm going to teach you guys how to use the basic practice amp that most people kind of have this style of. This thing is a piece of crap, and so I like using the Marshall. But I'll teach you guys how to use something like this for now. So the first thing you're wanting to do though is plug in your amplifier. Oh, I should mention though, Kieran will be back to teach you guys how to program a digital amplifier, such as what he uses, a Line 6 amp later. And I'll be teaching you guys how to use pedals or something eventually. Back to the lesson. First off, plug on your amplifier, plug in your guitar to the input jack, and turn on your amp. Right. Now most amplifiers are going to have a clean tone and an overdrive button. Now for your clean tone, you got the only things that are going to matter are your volume, treble, mid, bass, and reverb. So when you play it, right? You got that. But then, when you turn on your distortion, you go from to. When it comes to an amplifier such as this, you've got your volume here, gain, volume, because that's what happens when you have your overdrive. You have your treble, mid, bass, and reverb. I personally am not a huge fan of reverb, but that's just me. Now, what I learned from my guitar teacher, Guitar Marty, is that your basic setup that you want for your bass and treble and mid is 7 for your treble, 8 for your mid, and 10 for your bass, because you don't want to sound like you're playing a fart with the all maxed out bass and no treble or anything, but you don't want it to sound like you're playing through a tin can. Like here's what you get with the let's say the clean tone. Right, now let's say I take out the bass. So here's what I sound. That just doesn't sound nice. So watch what happens when we crank the bass and take out everything else. That just doesn't sound good. So let's put this all back on properly. So you mid back to 8, treble up to 7. Here's what reverb does. Now reverb, which is right here, makes your room sound larger than it actually does because of the echo. So. Okay, now I'm going to turn this down. I'm going to put on the overdrive for you, which in this case is this white button that is on most amplifiers. Now when you're using your overdrive part, you're going to want to focus on your gain and your volume. Now let's say I just have this set at what I like. I'm going to turn everything down to 0 for a minute. Nothing. You can still have your. So you go. It still sounds the same, right? The only thing is that it doesn't have any distortion. But as you add distortion, your volume goes up, so you have to turn down your volume to add distortion. I don't know. And I'm sorry, that was just a terrible shredding. But yeah, so also you can add on your reverb to that too. Okay, switch back to normal. Okay, 3, 2, 1. So in short, I did a terrible job at playing today, and I'm gonna be a terrible person by blaming. So in short, I did a terrible job at playing today, and I'm gonna be a terrible person by blaming my finger. Even though I should be blaming myself. So, if I can get you to take away anything from this, it's know how to use your amp. Don't be afraid of reverb. Unfortunately, I fear it, but that's just because, well, I have no idea. And then just remember, I don't know actually. Then treble 7, mid 8, and bass 10. That will save your ass when it comes to trying to get a nice tone. It makes it that you get so much more out of your amplifier. The guitarist from my actual band, Shane, and I'll be showing you. I'll eventually be getting him to come in and playing with us, and maybe even give us a demo lesson and of how to use his amp, because he has an amp not much better than this, right? It's not great, but he's gotten the most out of that amp. It's just amazing, and I'll get him in to show you about that, and I'll show you guys some videos from that too. Don't be afraid of distortion. Cause even just going. Right now I've got it only at volume out just over 1, right? Get it 2.5, and. Add in some reverb. Let's add max reverb.